I want to talk about the rarest accessories here in Guardian Tales. These are the hardest things to get, and they are actually pretty impactful. So I want to make sure that you guys know about them, so if you ever do pull these, you don't neglect them. They're actually a really big deal. Before we get into this video, I do want to say thank you to you guys. I was looking at my metrics and I noticed YouTube has a metric for how many people actually hit the bell, and I've never pitched it before in my channel. I've never asked you guys to do it, and 12% of you guys have actually hit that bell button. So a big thank you to you guys. Really appreciate the support in that way, and I'm glad you guys are finding the content value enough to where you want to get that notification. So appreciate that. And so with all that out of the way, let's get into the video here. Two accessories. There's two that are absolutely the most rare, and why I say they're the most rare, because there's no specific banner for these particular accessories. The only way you can get them is pure gacha. And the two accessories that we're talking about here, one of them I have and one of them I've never pulled yet before, and I'm almost at a year of playtime, and I've been spinning this whole time and I still have never pulled it. So the first one is going to be Ice Queen Ring, and then the second one is Earth Necklace. If you guys have been following some YouTube content in this game, whether it be my channel or other people's channels, this has been a big topic of conversation that we'll get to here in a second. But this is an incredibly good accessory, in my opinion, probably the best accessory in the entire game for this defense decrease, this 100% negated, because of what it does. We'll break that down here in a moment. But the first one I want to talk about is Ice Queen Ring. So this is specifically for water heroes because of this 15% water attack. The big competition of this piece on an epic accessory going to be Mirror Earring of Worship. Highlight this piece of gear because of the pros and cons of it. First of all, it's almost impossible to limit break unless you pull one and then you actually go out of your way to farm the epic limit breaking hammers to be able to limit break this to get that 6% extra HP. When you compare this accessory to its main competition, which is this Mirror Earring of Worship, which is the earth water type attack accessory that you get out of the mirror shop, this one has a lot more variance. So this one has a higher ceiling but a way lower floor, 81 defense all the way to 130, but this one has 128 to 141. So even the worst rolled Ice Queen Ring is going to be massively better than the worst rolled version of this Mirror Earring of Worship. There's a lot more variance here because when it comes to accessories, when you have a lot of sub options, think of this as, okay, this is going to take an absolute ton option change stones to ever be able to get a good roll of this. You're going to need to roll a ton of these because these sub options, so not only do you want the 4 correct ones, you could only lock one of these. There's a variance between of how much you can roll. You can roll anywhere from 0 to 12% HP, 0 to 10% defense. Then you can roll things that you don't even want. And you can't just slowly, like let's say you get 20% skill damage, you can't lock that, and then when you get 12% HP, you lock that as well. You're stuck because it's a sub option. You can only lock one at a time. So you got to pick one and then hope that the RNG is in your favor because, let's say even in the example, you get skill damage 20% and that's what you wanted, or let's say you get 10% defense and that's what you wanted. Getting the rest of this to roll well, which would be another 12% HP, another 20% skill damage, is just 1 in a million. It's just crazy lucky to ever get like one of these amazing rolls here. The things you can guarantee though, eventually through a lot of rolls, is going to be getting 130 defense and then locking that, getting 15% water type attack, then locking that. And then obviously when you fully max limit break this, you get that 7% defense. And also another thing, this is massively more accessible to get to be able to max limit break this guy because it's just in the mirror shop and you can drop it just through doing attempts in the water dungeon of that. To get a good roll of it, it's going to take a lot of option change stones. Whereas the main difference between Ice Queen Ring, this is going to be a lot harder to max limit break, but to be able to actually get this a good roll of this is going to be a lot easier because there's not that much variance here. There's more options here in the main options section. And then when it comes to the sub option, there's significantly less things to roll here than the other version of the accessory. So if you get this and you have water characters, this is going to be something that you can actually get pretty good, significantly easier, and with a lot less resources. And so that's going to be the major benefit here. But for something that's this rare in the game, it doesn't really jump out to me as an incredible accessory. I wish this was a little better for something because it's specific to water randomly, even though there's all these other ones, and there's no accessory like this for the other elements. It's just bizarre that they made this one so rare and only for water. But the one that is actually generic for every type of character that actually deserves its rarity here, I think is going to be Earth Necklace. And the reason why it's so good is because people have discovered this. When you look at this on paper, just negating defense by 100%, or when someone tries to do defense down on you and you negate it by 100%, that just looks like, okay, on paper that seems fine. Like for example, if Nari tried to reduce your defense, or for example, you would negate it. But what this actually does as well is it negates any type of elemental reduction, whether it be, you know, Beth, Gabriel, there's so many characters, Mayriel, all those characters that reduce reduce your element resistance, or they reduce your defense. All of it gets negated with this item, which makes it absolutely, in my opinion, especially from a arena perspective, the best accessory. But not only that, and also Coliseum as well. And then anytime you're facing enemies that happen to put a decreased defense, this is going to come up clutch as well. But not only that, it has one of the highest heal stats in the game at 20% here. So just keep in mind that if you put this on a feature princess, that's not going to increase the healing, because you need to actually have a flat heal stat to ever be able to increase the healing stat of a character. So a lot of, you know, this could actually be pretty good on a feature princess because of the base defense you're going to be getting here, which is very high. And it has HP, attack, and then HP when you max limit break it, and then weapon skill regen speed, which is amazing on feature princess. So all these stats are really good on her, but you might get baited in seeing this heal percentage, but that does not work for her. Just wanted to throw that out there. But if you're throwing this on another character, like let's say a Maya, for example, it's still going to be good there because it's a whole bunch of defense and you get 20% heal. So it's a very versatile item here that gives you one of the best effects on any accessory you could possibly get. Then it also gives you really good stats, you know, weapon skill regen speed, it gives you HP, it gives you attack, and then more HP when you max limit break it. So I think this one, out of the two accessories that are incredibly rare in this game, this one is by far the one that deserves that distinction. And this one's kind of weird. It doesn't really fit in this category to me. It's just kind of bizarre that they made this, like I was saying earlier, it's just kind of bizarre to me. So I just want to highlight these two accessories, and also it was just a good excuse to be able to talk about this amazing accessory here that I want people to kind of know that if you guys have this, be sure to keep this, and then you don't even need to max limit break it for it to be useful. So let's say, you know, in my situation, I have a max limit broken golden pocket watch. I'm still going to use the earth necklace in most scenarios, even though it's technically, until I get it max limit broken, it's going to be less stats, but I'm okay with that because this effect is just so powerful. Epic accessories that's worth actually fully max limit breaking down the line, but that's way down the line for you. That's a total min max. And if you are going to max limit break it, absolutely do not crush in other copies of earth necklace. Keep all the copies of it, because getting the copy is incredibly rare. What you'll be able to do is farm the epic limit breaking hammers for it if you ever consider doing that. So for example, in my situation, I'm lucky enough to have 3 of them. I'm going to make sure I keep all 3 of them. I'm probably not going to max limit break them, but if I ever do eventually, if I ever max limit break one of them, I'm not going to crush those other 2 into it. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to get the epic limit breaking hammers and get it all the way to level 83. But I could crush those 2 in and then use hammers, but that's dumb in my opinion, because you want to have multiple copies of these if you're lucky enough to get them. That's pretty much it when it comes to this accessory here. Let me know in the comments below if there's any other accessories like this you want me to cover. Interesting thing that in the game that these are so hard to get, so that's why I want to highlight them. And with that, guys, I am out. Peace.